Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Access. In this module, I want to show you how you can create a project management database. So first of all, I'm going to create a blank database and just call it projects and then create. And when you create a database, the default is this view. I don't want to start doing this. I'm going to go straight into design. So you've got the options of clicking this symbol which takes you to design, or you can right click and go in there, design view. Asks me to save the table. So the first table I'm going to create is TBL resources, just a simple resources table, and then it should take me into design on that. So resource ID is what I want the primary key to be, resource ID, and it's on auto number, which is what I want it to be on. And then I'm just going to put the name in there. So I'll just put surname. Oh no, in fact I'll put full name, so I can do Steve Saxton in there, make it easier. That can be short text, and then I want work availability, so how many hours are they available for. And that can be a number field. So that can do for that, and I can come back to this later on if I need to, but I'm just going to save that now. And then add a few records. So full name, so Steve Saxton, and let's say I'm available 8 hours every day, and then you've got a new person, Anne Jones, and let's say she's available 4 hours every day. Mark Green, 2 hours every day, and then Carol White, 8 hours every day. So that's my resources. Now I want a table of tasks, so create table design again. So this time task ID will be the auto number field, and it will also be the primary key. So just click on that and then do a primary key, get that little symbol there. So then I need task name, that's going to be text, and then I want a start date tab, and that's going to be a date and time, type the letter D, followed by an end date tab, type D. And then I'm going to do a calculation field in a second, but I'll need to save this table first. And then the last thing I want is a resource ID. I'll move them around in a minute. Resource ID. So this needs to be a lookup at the resources table. So if I go in there and drop this list down, you've got a lookup wizard, and it'll set the wizard up. I want to look up a field, get values from the table or query. Yes, I do. And that's the only one I've got so far, so I'll go like that. What I'm looking for is just the first name, full name. So I'll just tap that across. It'll do that one anyhow. So I'll go next. I'm not bothered about sorting it. And then that gives you a preview, and it's hidden the primary key column. So that's what I want. Next. And resource. I'll change that to resource name. And this is key. I'm going to tick this, which will stop me creating a resource that doesn't exist. So I won't be able to select a resource in this table that doesn't exist in that table. So that's quite key. And then finish that one. Save it. So this is going to be TBL tasks. Okay. And then have a look at that. So now we've got some information there, and we can add some tasks and allocate some resources. So let's just do that. So first one, let's go for task A. Keep it fairly simple. Start date, it'll be today. End date will be that. And then resource will be myself. Now what I want here is, what is that duration? I want a calculation field to work out what that duration is in days. So if I go back into design, and then duration in days, press tab, press CA for calculated, and then press enter and it'll come up with a wizard for you. So now what you need is the end date. So I need to end date minus start date. So I just need you to double click on those. Click OK. Puts it down the bottom here. Let's have a look, see if that's worked. Save the table. Yes, it has. 7. Duration in days. So that's 7. So I've got the tasks, and let's do a few more tasks. So task B, let's say that starts on the 24th and ends on the 25th. Allocate a person and Jones, and so on and so on. So if I do task B again, same dates, 24th, 25th, different person, Mark Green, so there's just one day there, and then I'll do a task C, and that can be a longer task. Let's go 30th to 7th, and that can be the other person in there, Carol White, and that's how that's picking that up. So that's okay, I'm happy with that. So now I'll just close this table, and I want to do a query to join these two tables together. Close that off. Yes, I do want to save it. Before I do the query, I just want to have a quick look at database tools just to show you the relationships. Now this was created when I went through the wizard, the lookup wizard, and I ticked that enforced referential integrity option. That's what that did, one to many. So one resource can be on many tasks. So close that off. Now if I do a query design, and just drag these two tables on, you'll see that relationship being shown. There it is. So what I'm going to do is create a query and do some calculated fields. Just bring this up a little bit. So task ID, I need task name, just double click, start and end date, like so, and then I want a calculation field that's now going to tell me what work I need, basically, or based on that really. It's going to be duration in days times by 8, assuming we're doing 8 hours a day. So I just call that work required, work being the hours, so work required, colon, and then if I go into the builder again, I can go and get the information I need. So it's going to be tables, duration in days, that's all I want, times by 8 hours. Get rid of this little expression symbol. Let's see if that works. Click OK. Let's have a quick run on that. Yeah. So 8 hours, that was just one day, and there's more than one day. So that's working okay. Go back into design. Now what I need is to bring the resources in. The resource ID. So if I just double click on resource ID, bring that in. Have a look. Resource ID. And in fact, let's bring full name in. I don't need resource ID as well, so let's get rid of resource ID. So we've got the full name, and I want to know what work availability he's got. So if I just bring that in, work availability, so it tells me he's got 8 hours per day, but I then need to work that out in terms of the duration of this. So there's 56 hours there. Am I going to be able to do that through those 56 hours over those days that there were? So go back into that. So now this one needs to be resource availability, so go into the builder, I'll type resource availability colon. So I need to do the little sum again. So it's going to be end date square bracket minus square bracket start date, then close that, times by work availability. So do a little times, and now I can grab work availability from this list. Let's have a look at that, see if I've got that right. Run that. Okay. Got a bit of an issue here. I've got not enough work available, so I need to do another calculated field here to tell me what the difference is. So if I go back into there, back into design, so this one, if we get into that one, go back into the builder, call this allocation status, colon. So the calculation I now need to do is resource availability minus work required. So I'll go into here. Now because this query is still getting done, it hasn't given me the option, so what I'll do is I'll just cancel this off, save what we've done so far, I'll just leave it as query 1, and then I'll just close it for a minute and then go back into it, into design, and then those fields should become available for me. So if I go into the builder, so this is going to be allocation status colon, so it's going to be into here now, queries, query 1 gives you the fields. So now I can just double click on this, so resource availability minus work required. Okay, so a quick, in fact let's go back into that, I forgot to get rid of the expression thing. Need the colon though. Click OK to that. Let's have a run. Yeah, so it's doing it now. So they're okay. They've got the right number of hours. They're 4 minus 4 hours because that's an 8-hour task, minus 6 hours because it's only available for 2. So now I can rename this task. I'll just close it. So I'm going to call this query. Yes, I do. Query. So I'll just right click and rename this. It wants to be QRY task allocation. Task allocation. So I've renamed that. Now what I want to do is create a couple of forms to see how this all sits. Now if I create a form on tasks, let's go for that one first. Create, go for form straight off, see what it does. So that's just give me a straightforward form. If I go into resources, create form, that gives me a form and tells me what tasks I'm on. It's just going through each of those, so that's okay. I can live with this one. So let's save this one. If I close that, yes, and I just put FRM in front of that. FRM in front of that one. FRM. Okay. Now this task one, I've got a list of tasks there, but I want a subform for resources underneath, so I know who's on each one. So if I go back into design, what I want to do on this one is put this query as the subform. So on the form design bit, go over there and get a subform. Just draw that across. And it's coming up with that. Bring all the fields across. You can get rid of some of these if you don't want them on. Now I want this to be not on the task ID but on the task name. Next, and I'll leave it as that. Finish. And then you usually have to make this a lot bigger than it is, just make it a lot longer, and then you can just move the thing if you want. Now let's have a look. So we've got task A, start, work required, full name, work allocation. Okay, so let's have a look at this. If I go forward, so these two are on task B, and you can see that there's some negatives going here. So what I'm going to do is on this column I'm going to put some conditional formatting on it. Click into this cell, it'll affect all of them, and then if you go to up the top here to where it says form data sheet, you've got conditional formatting as an option. So basically if it's the cell value is less than 0, which means it's a negative. I want that to flag red. Okay, add new rule. If it's greater than or equals to 0, that can be green. Green. Okay. Okay. So green, go forward. Red, like so. And then green. So if I go, let's save this one. So I'll call this FRM. Yes, I'll call it FRM task allocation. And then that sits in there. You can open that up and you get the information there. Now, when you go into tasks, you obviously only got 4 tasks and it's on an auto number. If you want to allocate somebody else to the same task, you can do, or you could just leave it as a simple person where there's just one person on each task. It's just a one person task. It's totally up to you how your project develops, but that's all I want to cover on this little session. How to create your tables, a little query, and a couple of forms with some calculations in the queries to give you some information. In the next session we'll looking at reports and things like that and see how it goes. But hopefully this has been of use to get you started in creating a project management database using Microsoft Access. So thank you for your time and I'll catch you later.